What's going on, guys? It's Luke22SV here, back with the 10th round of Season 2 of the career mode today, here for the Austrian Grand Prix. Off the back of a couple of good results now, from Austria we came P2, P2 in Canada as well, P5 in France. So we're in actually a decent bit of form at the moment now, with 3 consecutive points finishes, 2 podiums in the last 3 races, and now heading into a home Grand Prix. Where we actually finished 6th here last season. This is how the standings are looking at the moment. We're currently down in P7, but after a poor start to the season, now we're really starting to build some momentum. I think maybe we've probably screwed our chances of competing for a championship this season, but we're going to be doing our best to try and climb up those places and definitely try and get amongst the top, where my teammate is pretty much. That's where we would like to be. So Williams coming into this race with a lot of upgrades as well. So there you can see we're currently, 6th place was where we finished last season. So that was one of our best results, of course, in our Toro Rosso days before we left and joined Alfa Romeo. Of course, in the second half of the season, it was not too bad, but we've actually had a fair amount of DNFs now at our time at Alfa Romeo. We actually had a few DNFs towards the back end of last season, and of course 3 already at this season. So yeah, we could do a lot better than what we have done for Alfa Romeo, but now we're doing a good enough job, I think. But well, hopefully we can actually have a good second half of the season. After the first 6 rounds were just a nightmare, and we literally just couldn't get things going in any good way at all. But now, after a 2nd place in Austria, which was just about managed, we probably didn't have the best race pace, but we did have good qualifying pace to actually get ourselves up there. And in fact, probably could have got pole position if our lap time was a bit more cleaner than what it was. But yeah, a good result then in Austria, a good result in France, despite that being the worst track that this is literally my worst track on this game. I literally cannot get it right every time I try and attempt the lap there. So to get 5th place there was pretty good news at the end of the day. And then 2nd place again in Canada, one of my best tracks actually, but the Mercedes was so overpowered there. I tried everything to get towards Hamilton in the end, but I just couldn't, and end up paying the price with a corner cut penalty, and still managing to keep hold of P2 in the end. But it was just literally having to push so hard just to catch up to Hamilton. Just couldn't in the end. But here we are then. We're currently P7 around our home Grand Prix, but our 2nd lap now we've got a session best sector 2, I should say, and a personal best sector 1. So we're slightly up on our lap time from previous. So this should move us up, and it does, in fact, to P4. So for the race, then, we're currently starting in P4, and you guessed that the Mercedes locked out the front row, and wonder where everyone else is from there. Because every time we just have to guess that the Mercedes have locked out the front row because their car is still overpowered as hell. And we're P4 behind Lucas Weber and ahead of the 2 McLarens, the 2 British drivers here as well. So we got all 5 British drivers in the top 10. So if that was a British crowd, you'd be loving that as well, with Devon Butler and myself adding to the 3 real drivers that are on this game. So we got George Russell doing well, and both the Renaults towards the back as we head on into the race then for the British Grand Prix. And our home Grand Prix, what can we do? Surely we can do better than what we did last season, which was P6, qualifying in P4, still getting out qualified by our teammate. So the Alfa Romeo looks like it's almost 2nd best at the moment in terms of actual pace, because on paper we're 4th best. But here we go then. Let's have a look at the grid then for the British Grand Prix. As we have a look, you can see, of course, Hamilton on pole in his home Grand Prix alongside Valtteri Bottas. We've got Lucas Weber in 3rd, and then myself in 4th. And then you can see the 2 McLarens, the 2 British McLarens in P5 and P6 for Verstappen ahead of Perez, doing well. The Ferrari's having a difficult day behind George Russell. Danny Kvyat as well, doing quite well. Gasly struggling, and ahead of Grosjean, Albon, Hulkenberg, Magnussen, Ricciardo being just woeful again, and 2 Renaults at the back. I don't know what's going on with Ricciardo this season, and since he joined Racing Point, he's just been absolutely demolished by Perez. Hasn't been able to do well at all. I think he had 1 good race in his first race and then just completely fell off. But here we go then. It's the start of our home Grand Prix of Season 2, and the lights go out and away we go. And straight away the McLarens are trying to jump us, which of course we have such a poor start on here. But we head through turn 1 and getting such a good exit out of turn 1. Yellow flags further back. We don't know what's happened there, but we dive down the inside of both my teammate and Valtteri Bottas. virtual safety car is deployed, and well, Bottas has snuck back past us, but we have to let Bottas pass. Apparently, we didn't quite. Well, Bottas was apparently ahead of us when the virtual safety car was deployed, so we've had to let him go. But here's the replay then of the start. You can see us almost immediately pulling out to the left, and then Russell as well. It looks like he had a pretty good start as well, and you can see going through turn 1. You can see further back, it looks like a racing point got bogged down, but I thought we were ahead of Bottas at this point. So it's a bit strange that we've ended up having to give the position back to Valtteri Bottas. But here it is. Here's the reason why there was a virtual safety car. Daniel Ricciardo, as I just said, a poor start to the season, but for some reason there was a virtual safety car for that. I don't know why. Here we go though, carrying on. Still on lap 1. The virtual safety car is now coming to an end. We're actually side by side with Bottas, but for some reason the Delta is just telling us to speed up. But now we go back to green racing now. Here we go, racing speed, and we're going to try and make a move on Valtteri Bottas, catching him napping as we go through Copse Corner, and now towards Maggots and Beckett's we take P2 away from Valtteri Bottas. So it's almost like a repeat of how Canada and Austria are going at the moment. Basically Hamilton leading the way. We managed to take P2 away from Bottas, and now Bottas is going to be doing everything he can to retake that position away from us, as now you can see he's chasing us towards Stowe, and now we go through, and we just managed to stay ahead of him. So for now we keep hold of P2 as a long lap 1, and we end lap 1 then in P2 to come through the last couple of corners of the lap to end the lap. And well, Bottas is going to be all over us because he's got such a better package already, and we just seem to be slower at this stage of this race. But we go through turn 1, and there's contact between between Lucas Weber, my teammate, and Valtteri Bottas, and I have no idea what's happened there. But again, it's a repeat of Austria, both Weber and Bottas coming together. I have no idea what happened there. But we'll certainly take a look at the replay in just a moment's time. Here we go then. Here's the replay actually of myself getting the run out on Valtteri Bottas going through Copse. We just got such a better launch after that virtual safety car ended, and managed to get it right as we head through on the outside into Copse. A very brave move there. But you can see Weber as well looking very interested as well. He was trying to make the move back into P3 as he lost the position off the start. Here's the replay then going into turn 1. You see Bottas looking on the inside of us. He then slowed down, and Weber ran into the side of him. Bottas ran off the track and had to rejoin. And Weber, well, he carried on, but I don't know what happened. Here's Bottas trying to make a move on me. It's almost like they swapped their roles. Weber ran into the side of Bottas this time. Bottas though went off, but neither of them ended up retiring by the looks of it. But it's almost like Weber was the Bottas of Austria, luckily to keep his wheels on. But yeah, almost could have taken Bottas's wheel off again. He must have taken some front wing damage though, because he ran into the side of Valtteri Bottas quite some speed there. But we carry on to the end of lap 2 now, and you can see there's a huge gap on the mini-map between myself and Weber, who's now been overtaken by Lando Norris. So Lando Norris is up to P3, and it's an all-British podium at the moment. And I'd imagine Devon Butler's still there too. As we carry on, with the DRS is now enabled. Teammate now comes into pits. Valtteri Bottas is down the order as well. So that's 2 drivers that's lost so many positions in this race. Hamilton could get 26 points here at this rate compared to those guys who are going to be well down the order. Those are his nearest challengers, Weber and Bottas, who've both, well, just lost this chance of scoring good points in this race. They could both really be on the podium, to be honest, but now it doesn't really look like either of them will be able to score points. Well, my teammate, he could potentially, but he's going to be on those tyres until the end of the race, although it is only 10 more laps really in this race to do. But everyone else is going to have fresher tyres. He's going to have to spend longer in the pit lane too, repairing that front wing. And we've got a huge gap now, though, to Lando Norris, who's in P3. So it could be a rather boring end to this race. But the race could almost certainly be over already, and we don't really know what to do now. We've just got to carry on. We've got no one in front of us. Hamilton's long gone. Norris is long behind because he got held up by Weber and Bottas's collision, I'd imagine. But I don't know. It looks like it's going to be a rather long race now, going to the end as we run wide again on the end of Stowe as we come towards the end of lap 3. So yeah, it looks like only one of those races again. P2 at the moment, so we're just going to keep it on the track as we come towards the end of lap 5 now. We're going to be boxing earlier than Hamilton and earlier than, well, most of the field really, to see if we can make some sort of undercut, maybe make something happen in this race to catch up with Hamilton. But of course, his car is just so much quicker than ours, so to catch up with Hamilton we'll really need to do something monumental. And again, it's just, it doesn't look like it's going to happen in this race. A long pit stop here. If Hamilton was to rejoin in traffic, maybe that would help. If he had a mechanical problem, that would help, but it just doesn't look likely. As we come out in P19, our teammate is a long way behind still. He's coming through the last few corners of the lap still, and Bottas is in P18. So Bottas is yet to stop as well. So Bottas is basically in a net 20th position after that incident between those two. It wasn't my fault either, again, that time. It's just that Bottas was just in the way. Bottas slowed down. Weber ran into the side of him, and Bottas ended up spinning. I'm not sure why there wasn't a virtual safety car for that, but there was for Ricciardo having a little spin at the end of at the end of the first corner. It's something that really needs to be sorted out. It's like the random decisions to put out a virtual safety car or a safety car when you wouldn't put out a virtual safety car or a safety car, and then you get a hell of a pile-up, like 5 cars losing front wings and 6 cars are out of the race or something like that. And then they're just like, nah, just a single yellow flag for that, mate, and then just carry on with the race. It just doesn't really make sense on this game, but here we are then. This is going to be our attempt of trying to take that extra point away from Lewis Hamilton, who's currently getting those 26 points. We're currently only getting, only in a net 18 points at the moment, because we'll be in a net second place still. But we're going for that fastest lap at the moment. We're going for the fastest lap to see if we can take an extra point in this race, which would help marginally in the championship as well, because Alfa Romeo getting an extra point would put us closer to Mercedes, although it doesn't look like we'll be competing with them in the constructors at this race. We're definitely not going to gain any points because Hamilton's still ahead of us, so we just got to do our bit to maybe just try and secure second at the moment. It's almost like a 2004 season. We seem to be a little bit like BAR, where despite, well, to be fair, Weber's actually managed to get a win for us, but you know how it is, like with the Ferraris being so dominant, we just had to try and secure second, which is what BAR did that season. But moving on now to lap 9, this is the only piece of action that happened again really between now and the end of the race. We just saw a slow Giovinazzi in the Renault on old tyres, and we decided, you know what, we'll throw it around the outside into Beckett's, why not, and we'll stick it around the outside here and take P5. And I don't know why they haven't pitted yet, because Giovinazzi was going so slow, but nonetheless we carry on. And we're now on the last lap of this race, and it's been a really dull race. You know, when you get those dull races and you just don't know whether you just try and keep hold of concentration, but you just almost lose it just because there's nothing to do. There's no one around you. You're just going to carry on driving the same track. I mean, it's a nice track, Silverstone. I mean, if it was Abu Dhabi or Paul Ricard, I'd have probably fallen asleep. But you know, Hamilton's 10 seconds clear down the road, so there was no chance of catching up with him. His car's just overpowered. Norris is still like 8 seconds behind me now. Devon Butler as well down there, and I think Vettel as well. So we got 4 British drivers in the top 5 at least, I think. I don't know where George Russell is, so it could be a hell of a result today for the British crowd to see all these 5 British drivers doing so well. I mean, the collision with Bottas and Weber would have helped those guys out, particularly gaining places. I don't know where those guys will be at this point in time, whether they've actually managed to get back into the points. But one thing's for certain, we're going to be able to get 19 points in this race. Hamilton is going to cross the line to win this race any second now, and we're going to happily take P2. And great day for us. There's going to be 3 British drivers on the podium as we almost run off the track there. There's yellow flags further back. I'm not sure what that is for, but we come around the last corner to end the race. And it's P2, another P2, our third P2 of the season actually. Still looking for that first win of this career mode. But whilst we're racing against those Mercedes, it's just not going to happen. Toto Wolff going to be delighted with that one again, as we end the race there then. And 3 British drivers on the podium, you've got to love that at Silverstone. So yeah, there we go. Norris is joining us alongside 3 British drivers from 3 different teams as well. So yeah, I'm not sure if that's happened in a long time, but there we go. We can be so happy with that, as now we end this race and look towards the standings, and it was actually 5 British drivers in the top 6 as well there, 4 British drivers in the top 4, and you just can't make that up really at the British Grand Prix. I think that might be actually script, but well, it's not made by EA, but well, there it is, there you go. Leclerc finishing down the order in the end, Sergio Perez DNFing as well in the end. I think that might have been what the yellow flags were for. So Racing Point, a very big day to forget for them, who have had a actually really good season up until this point, but although Williams look like they could be now the 6th best team, well, maybe even 5th to be honest, because George Russell, the Red Bulls has been nowhere. Russell finished P6 ahead of both the Red Bulls, I think, but Ferrari disappointing again, but there you go, Williams up to P7, getting 35 points. I mean, they'd get a nosebleed if they got that many points in real life, being that high up the standings, but well, there we go. Happy days. That's going to be the end of the episode there, guys. I mean, I hope you enjoyed it more than I did, to be honest. That was a really dull race after the incident between Bottas and Weber, but hopefully the German Grand Prix will be more exciting. I hope you tune in for that one. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you very soon.